We left off last video downloading these beautiful images that you see here. Now we're going to clean up this rat's nest that is our files, right? And maybe you want to challenge yourself, organize it yourself real quick. I'm going to follow basically the same organization principles that I've been following. So it should be a little bit of review. But again, organization, subjective. If you have a different way, cool. Again, more practice doing it my way. So new group here. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the screens, kind of like the heart of the app. I did new file. I did command. I'm so used to doing command N. Right click, new group. We're going to call this screens. And okay, so the screens we have, right? Well, I'm going to create a new group in here before I start moving stuff, right? I want a appetizer list view. Okay, cool. Now I want a folder, new group for account view. You can see I'm basing this based off of the new group, the tabs on the tab bar, right? And then we have a order view, right? Because again, when you're organizing the project, I find this easier, right? Especially if a new developer comes in that's not familiar, and it's broken up by the tabs, it's a lot easier to like navigate and know what's going on. So that's how I like to do it. And then I do like to have them kind of in chronological order, right? Appetizer, not in the folder. That's one thing that gets tricky. Sometimes it's finicky, right? So appetizer account order view, cool. What goes in the appetizer list view? Well, that's our appetizer list view, that's one. Our appetizer list view model, that's two. And again, I like to put my view model on top. And then let's take our account view into our account view. And then I like to open up the folders just to confirm, things are where I expect them to be. And then the order view, cool. Now I'm going to create in appetizers my utilities folder. Right? Remember I said this is kind of like a catch-all and it can get out of control, but I think if I have subfolders, I think it's fine. So new group, here I call this like managers, because usually there's a couple, like a session manager managing the user, network manager, there's a couple of these. So back in utilities, new group, now let's add extensions. Okay, now let's start organizing this a little bit. So network manager goes into managers. Where's my color extension? Color extension goes into extensions. Okay, let's create a new folder, new group. I don't always do a separate folder for this. Do alert, and I can probably put my AP error and my alert in that folder. I thought about naming it like errors and alerts, but I don't like super long folder names. So those kind of go together. So now what are we missing? The appetizer .tab view, that's kind of like the overarching thing. I put this in screens at the top. I don't put it in a folder though. Right? So you see my screens folder has the app tab view and then the screens. I kind of like the way that looks. Again, completely subjective. Of course, we're going to need a new group. We're going to need a model folder for our appetizer and then some future other stuff. So appetizer.swift, move it into our model. You see, and I'm kind of just going down the list, right? So loading view, I'm going to put this in my, my UIKit components because like I said, I fully expect an activity indicator to be native to Swift pretty soon. I'd be shocked if it wasn't like in the next major Swift update. So we're going to put this in UIKit components. And the reason I like to keep that separate is because I know exactly what to go in and replace as Swift UI, evolves and gets all this functionality. So let's minimize my folders to look at my overall structure real quick. So model utilities screens. So again, this is where I start doing the views folder. So new group, call it views. And this is kind of like overarching because there's a lot of different views, especially in Swift UI. So the new group in here will be UIKit components, and then the other one will be cells. You can see my appetizer list cell. So new group, call it cells, and then remote image. So we'll call this new group, call this image. Okay, so let's just drag this here. Cell goes into cells. Loading view goes into my UIKit components, and remote image goes into my image. So. And then I usually like to have views down here above screens. So I like to have like the stuff like the model, utilities, all that kind of stuff. I like to have at the top, and I like to have my views and my screens, the stuff I use the most, at the bottom. I understand that sounds kind of backwards. That's just my preference. But you can see the folder structure, right? Model with the appetizers, utilities. We have alerts, extensions, managers in my utilities, views, images, cells, UIKit components. Screens, see it's broken down with the tab view by tab. And then of course, as these get more complex, these can have subfolders as well. So I've said it 1,000 times, and I know, but organization is subjective. Just take what you like from me, leave what you don't, come up with your own system. Just try to put yourself in the shoes of somebody new coming into your code base and not knowing your special cool little system. Like I try to keep it the most logical and obvious as possible. At least that's what I strive for. That's what I think you should strive for too when organizing your project.